Hey guys, thanks for coming back. One of the questions I keep getting about these little amps that I've been demoing, the 20 watts specifically, is are they loud enough to gig with? And my honest answer is yes and no. No for me because of the specific way I use them and the specific band that I play in and the type of music we play. Most of the time I'm in a band with two guitar players and we both take leads. Well, one of my bands, we run our own sound, so there's no sound guy actively pushing a fader for whoever's taking a solo, so you have to be able to boost your sound by yourself from the stage or from your setup if you want your solos to be heard. So I use, like I've showed in many videos, my TC Electronics G system, and it has a boost feature, which is not really a boost, it's actually an attenuation when you're in rhythm mode, and then when you turn it on, it's unattenuating it or playing at normal volume, kind of here nor there, but it's not actually making your signal louder than the amp would make it by itself. So what happens is with 20 watt amps, when you need decent stage volume, you're getting into the territory where you're starting to clip the power tubes. That's why 100 watt amps are, they're not necessarily louder, they're just maintain the clarity up to a higher volume. I think a 1 watt amp will still push well over 100 dB. The problem comes from when you want that signal to, like I said, get louder. And I'm going to show you that with my setup. Now, some guys will sing the virtues of an amp wide open, knobs all the way, on 10 or 11. And that's a specific sound. That's kind of how they used to do it in the old days. They didn't have a whole lot of preamp gain. Well, people needed that kind of gain without the kind of volume, so they figured out how to get it from the front end of the amp. My contention is, if you're not playing classic rock, AC/DC, you rely on delay and you rely on reverb, or you incorporate it, you don't want to run an amp wide open, especially if those effects are in your loop, because they are going to distort and not sound pleasant, and they'll muddy up your sound. And as I'll show you, even your tonality of your guitar sound, or of your amp, sounds different at full volume as opposed to quarter volume and even half volume. But on this little amp, I think it's a 15 watt EVH 5150, 50% of the volume is where it quits getting louder. Just the more you turn it up, the more saturated it gets, the more your effects start to distort, the reverb start to distort, and it's generally not a very pleasant sound. That's my opinion. Some people may differ, but I'm going to show it to you. And I will show you the recording so you can see the waveform, and you will be able to see when it's at a quarter volume, you can see an increase in the waveform volume when I hit my boost, so you can actually tell, because internet and the video compressors and everything is going to kind of squash everything, and you won't really be able to audibly hear the difference, but you'll be able to see the difference on the waveform. And at quarter of the volume, you'll be able to see an increase in the waveform. But as I approach 50%, you will not be able to see any more change in the wave. It'll just be a brick, basically. And then as I approach 100%, the sound just gets kind of ugly, especially with the high gain sound. Now, like say again, like a plexi is a totally different animal. You're not going to get high gain, and you're not even really going to get desirable distortion out of it until you start pushing the power tubes. But you don't want to get to that territory with one of these amps if you're trying to play what these amps are designed to do. So, without further ado, let me tell you my setup. I will be playing my trusty old Ibanez, because that's what I use mostly. I play in a 80s metal tribute band, and playing Skid Row and Def Leppard and Poison and Warrant and Motley Crue and all the things that were popular in the 80s. So I figured that would be the right guitar for this video. I'll be running into my TC Electronics, which I've featured practically every video I've ever made, into this Bad Cat dummy load, so that I can turn it up all the way and not really blast everybody out of the house. I will be capturing the audio coming out of the amp. It's going to go from the amp to this Palmer speaker emulator and then into the dummy load. This has an XLR out and has a cap emulated signal. It sounds roughly like a 57 on a generic speaker. From there I will be going into my DAW, and I will do a screen capture so that you can see the waveforms and be able to get a visualization for how much volume increase you lose as you turn it up. Last but not least, I'm going to probably be using a looper. Just play one riff, and that way each pass is going to be exactly the same as far as performance. And I think that's it. Enjoy. So there it is, my evaluation of a 20 watt amp. I love them, but they're just not loud enough. For me. Maybe for you, but not for me. So thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. And if you like it, subscribe, hit the like button, Give me some feedback, tell me why I'm wrong, tell me why they're the greatest thing in the world. They really are cool though. I mean, they're super light, and that thing's freaking heavy. And if you don't need to push them into, or if you don't need them to be that loud, maybe they'll work for you. They just don't work for me. I've tried the Runt, the Ping Taco, the JJ Junior, the 20 watt 800, 20 watt Plexi, and this isn't mine, but I almost got one because it sounds great. It sounds very Van Halen, but it just doesn't work for me. Alright, peace out.